Imagine waking up in a world where everyone is getting rich. It's 1926 and the vibe is immaculate. The radio is just invented. Cars are rolling off assembly lines by the millions. And a brand new thing called the stock market is turning regular people into overnight millionaires. This was the era of the roaring 20s. Life was a non stop party, and everyone thought the music would never stop. But on October 29th, 1929, a day history remembers as Black Tuesday, the music didn't just stop, the entire dance floor collapsed. In a matter of days, billions of dollars vanished into thin air. Millionaires became penniless. Banks locked their doors, and a decade long economic apocalypse began, known as the Great Depression. How did a world of absolute abundance turn into a world of soup kitchens and bread lines overnight? Welcome to Nerdvana. Today, we are breaking down how the world's biggest financial machine completely broke down. Let us understand the causes. To understand the crash, we have to look at the massive flaws built into the 1920s economy. And the biggest flaw was a little concept called buying on margin. Back then, if you wanted to buy $100 worth of stock, you did not need $100. You only needed $10. The bank or your broker would lend you the other $90. It felt like free money. If the stock went up to $150, you paid back the loan and pocketed a massive profit. Everyone, from factory workers to barbers, was doing it. But this created a phantom economy. Stock prices were not rising because companies were doing well. They were rising because millions of people were buying them with borrowed money that they did not actually have. At the same time, factories were producing goods faster than people could buy them. This is called as overproduction. Eventually, warehouses filled up with unsold radios and cars. Companies started losing money. By October 1929, a few smart investors looked around and realized that the balloon was about to pop. They started selling their stocks to get out early. Panic is contagious. Seeing them sell, everyone else panicked too. On Black Tuesday, everyone wanted to sell, but nobody wanted to buy. The stock market plummeted off a cliff. People who owed thousands of dollars to brokers were wiped out in hours. Now you might think, okay, so rich guys on Wall Street lost their money. Why did that affect regular people? This is where the true horror of the Great Depression lies, the bank runs. Remember how brokers borrowed money from banks to lend to stock buyers? Well, those buyers couldn't pay it back. Suddenly, banks realized that they did not have cash. Regular citizens realized their local banks were running out of money, so they rushed to the banks to withdraw their life savings. But banks don't keep all your cash sitting in a vault, they lend it out to businesses. When thousands of people showed up at once demanding their cash, the banks simply ran out. They literally locked their doors and went bankrupt. Over 9,000 banks collapsed. If your savings were in one of them, they were gone forever. With no banks to lend money, businesses couldn't pay their workers. Factories shut down. By 1933, a staggering 25% of American people were unemployed. One in four people had zero income. People couldn't pay rent, leading to the rise of Hoovervilles, massive shanty towns made of cardboard and scrap metal, named after President Herbert Hoover, whom the public blamed for the crisis. This crisis spread globally. Why? Because the United States had become the world's primary financial engine after World War I. So this did not remain just an American problem. The crisis spread like a virus across the globe. The US started demanding European nations pay back their war loans immediately. Global trade collapsed by a massive 66%. In Germany, The economic misery grew so severe that the desperate, starving population began listening to a radical extremist who promised to fix everything, Adolf Hitler. The Great Depression directly set the stage for World War II. So, how did the world finally escape this nightmare? In 1932, America elected a new president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who promised a New Deal. His strategy was simple: the government would step in to act as the consumer when nobody else could. The government hired millions of unemployed people to build roads, bridges, dams, and national parks. They created social security and passed laws banning banks from gambling with regular people's money. But while the New Deal helped people survive, the Great Depression did not truly end until 1939. The ultimate irony was that it took the massive industrial effort of World War II, where factories had to run 24/7 to produce weapons and gear, to finally put everyone back to work and jumpstart the global economy. So, in a way, World War II, even though disastrous, actually helped accelerate the economy and drive it out of the depression. The Great Depression changed our world forever. It taught us that the economy isn't just a scoreboard for the rich, it's a fragile ecosystem where everything is connected. When you build prosperity out of pure speculation, illusionary debt, and unchecked greed, the crash is not a possibility, it's a mathematical certainty. If you love this deep dive into history's wild economic roller coaster, please click on that like button, subscribe to Nerdvana, and let me know in the comments. Do you see any similarities between the 1920s and our world today? And until next time, stay curious, nerds. Thank you so much for listening.